Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you are doing well. I wanted to come on here today and talk to you guys about reviews, my reviews that I do on my main channel, The Needle Drop. Don't know if you guys have heard of that one. It's got a few million subscribers on it. I talk about music on there all the time. Yeah, on there I just kind of review albums all the time. It's kind of my thing. But recently on our subreddit, some people have taken issue with the fact that the reviews aren't like super long. They're not super short either. They're I guess more consistently medium sized. And yeah, I guess some people are not happy with this, especially in the wake of me recently talking about the 3 new King Gizzard albums that all dropped in October in one single video. So again, with this commentary and I guess slight unhappiness with the length of videos that I've been doing as of late, even though I probably have hundreds, if not thousands of videos that hit in that 6-minute range up until this point. Still, I thought I would kind of give my ethos on the length of my reviews and why in some cases I personally feel like a 6-minute review or so is preferable to that a review of a longer length. Though that isn't to say longer reviews are necessarily a bad thing. If you're somebody who typically does a longer review format and you're going over every single detail you can, you're making all of these connections and comparisons and really kind of drawing the whole thing out and giving the viewer or listener, depending on your medium, kind of an experience, a super in-depth one, that's fine. That's great. That's fantastic. If that's your bag, go for it. My review process and delivering them in this video format is that, I kind of think convenience is important because there is so much music, there is so little time, there is so much saturation out there right now. I feel like I would be doing all of you a disservice if all or many of my reviews were 10 to 30 minutes each and they all arrived like, 4 to 5 weeks after the release of the record. Plus, when it comes to communicating and communicating clearly, I personally am of the belief that if you can say or get across the same point in 30 seconds as opposed to 4 minutes, you better say it in freaking 30 seconds. Though I personally am no stranger to being long-winded and talking 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 with no end in sight, when I do catch myself and I am being as aware of that as possible, I do try to put in the effort to make sure that I am direct and to the point and not wasting your time by saying more than I need to say. Which is why when I'm reviewing anything, be it a short record, long review, short review, it is my goal ultimately to summate my experience with the album and get into the finer or obvious details that basically made that experience what it was, bring that to you through my words, through my expressions, through my emotions. If I feel like I've gone to 6 minutes, though that's not usually how I gauge my reviews. Typically, I'm writing them out, and sometimes I have more paragraphs and sentences for a review than I do in others. Would also like to add here that many of the run times of my reviews are comparable to or better than the read times for a lot of review articles in text throughout the internet. If I find myself at maybe an average amount of paragraphs for a review, but I still feel like there are so many things about the album that I have not explained, that I have not gotten across, that I feel like you need to know in order to understand at a baseline, will you enjoy this or not, then I will need to go on for those extra paragraphs. And truth be told, with every record, even some of the worst records, even some of the most basic records out there, you could truly go on about all of them forever. You could talk about these songs not only in terms of their context and aesthetics and influences and genres, you could talk about literally the detailed compositional elements of that track. You could talk about various specific effects or VSTs or pieces of instrumentation and go into how they're played. There's a lot of ways that you could pull apart a track in detail to the point where you're digging down so far you could just go on forever. Again, there are just some details that when you're trying to get across to a general audience, will you enjoy this or not, that you don't need to go into. It's not necessary. In fact, I think there are some things that you're kind of doing the audience a disservice by explaining to death. Honestly, it's best to give them a efficient introduction to what it is you want them to check out. And then from there, allow them to dig deeper into the album and allow the album to inspire them. So yeah, are there some reviews that don't go for 10 minutes and 12 minutes and 13 and 14 and 15 minutes? Yeah. And when I don't go that length of time, it's usually because, at least in my mind, in my belief, it's not worth going on for that amount of time about the record. And while you could argue that, well, Anthony, like maybe there are aspects of the album that I would enjoy more than you, and it's important for you to bring up those elements because they're important to me. While that is true, I cannot read your mind. I don't know what it is you do and do not like or what will stand out to you. All I know is what stands out to me, and all I can do is tell you those things that stand out to me. They may stick out to you when you go and listen to the record yourself, and if they do, that's great. All that my hope is the way that I've advocated for an album in whatever way that I did, I hope it is enough to strike up curiosity in you for you to try it yourself and give it the time of day. Because remember, the point of me doing this isn't for you and me to have exactly the same opinion on a record and for it to align perfectly. That is not the point of these fucking reviews, no matter how much some of you think it is. The point and the goal is for you to try out some of the things I'm recommending for you to try out. And then from there, you then decide on your own from there what it is you like about the record or, you don't. Because I've got plenty of feedback over the years where people don't care for things that I've suggested. I've got plenty of feedback over the years from people who said, hey, off of a negative review or maybe like a 5 out of 10 review, I checked out this thing that you didn't quite care for, but I ended up really enjoying it. And you know what? I still ended up trying it off of you talking about it. And I appreciate you talking about it because it still, opened me to that artist and what they do. So, either way, if it ends up kind of striking up curiosity in you and getting you to try out some records that you would not have before, that is my goal. And I think that's all I have to say. You're the best. Mwah. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, short reviews forever.